Jeremy, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Joe?
I'm good, dude. If those of you that don't know, Jeremy Wilson is actually this is what I think I know. I'd like to learn more about you today, right? But I think you're like the super biggest, largest real estate agent team in the United States. I think
In the
maybe
world, in the
in
world,
the
actually. No,
world.
I'm just no,
As
not at
and
all.
by the way, what I was lucky enough to, so Jeremy and I sit on the agent advisory board for Zillow. I was lucky enough to sit next to him in Charleston, where you're from, I believe, right?
Yeah, yeah.
At one of our events, one of our mastermind events, and you're a super humble guy, right? You've done a lot of really cool stuff, and I think what I'd really love to do is I'd love to learn a little bit about your journey. You want to tell us a little bit about
Sure.
you, your team, where you guys are located, just whatever you want. It's production stuff like that. I know you guys are doing really cool stuff, and I'm excited that you're here to talk to me about it. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. You want me to go all the way back to my messed up childhood, or start at some point after that?
Yeah,
I'll,
tell us.
I'll start after all the bad stuff. So I was 30 something years old now. So really, Joe, back in 2006 is when I got in the business. I was in the restaurant business for a long time. Actually, my previous job, the one that I held the longest, I started as a dishwasher at a restaurant. It's a national chain, but it was a restaurant in Charleston. Started as a dishwasher in high school, and eventually I ran the whole company. Well, the whole company in Charleston. There's 25 restaurants with this chain. I was the director of operations, so that got me up until about 2006. And my a good friend of mine that was in the restaurant business with me, he had already left the restaurant business to get into real estate. He was just dabbling, kind of doing some investments and stuff, nothing too big. And we were actually at his house. We would do Texas Hold'em games in his basement. And he's like, "Man, you should get into real estate." And if you know anything about me, you know that I am quick to make decisions. Like, I don't even really think about decisions sometimes. I just make them. So like the next morning I signed up for real estate school, and like within 48 hours I was going to real estate school. And at that time it was in person. So I had to go to the play. I didn't quit my job. I still had my job as a director of operations, which was a very busy schedule, but I had a lot of freedom, driving around in my car to different locations, in the office, at home, working. So I got my real estate license within 30 days, and put a desk in his real estate office. I was sitting there starting to make real estate calls. I didn't know what I was doing. I was so freaked out because I always want to know everything about the subject before I talk about it. Like I don't want to talk to you about real estate unless I know everything about it, because I'm in fear of what questions you're going to ask me and I don't have the answer right away. Like, I want to know everything. So it was really hard for me to make calls at first. I probably asked a billion questions to Donald. Um, Fast forward a little bit, I got into, back then condo sales were big in Charleston. So got into some on-site condo sales. So I'm sitting on site selling condos while I'm working as a director of operations for a restaurant company. So that was fine. They didn't care. It was, we were just kind of brokering this condo deal. So, I even had my magnet, everybody's magnet on their car. I had my magnet on my company car, and the owner of the company actually saw me driving by, I guess, one day in traffic, and they called me on it. They knew I was in real estate kind of on the side, but they called me on it. I told them, no worries, I'll take it off. But Donald eventually gave me an ultimatum. This was probably 6 months in, and said, "Hey man, that's great that you're double dipping, but in order for us to be successful, you're gonna have to either ditch the restaurant job or get back out of real estate." So, I was making decent money back then, and we weren't making any money in real estate yet. We were still so new. I think I was selling a couple condos a month, so making nothing. And I decided to quit my full-time job, and I knew people from there were telling me it was the dumbest mistake ever, and the market was starting to crash. Short sales weren't here yet, but you could see that the end was near. So I did it, and then the next 3 or 4 years was the hardest I ever worked in my life.
Mhm.
And but the good news is the restaurant job really prepared me for it. And I'm telling you, the restaurant business is so much harder than the real estate business. Like, as soon as I quit, I would go work out of my real estate office, which was part of Keller Williams. And 2 or 3 o'clock, the office was empty. People were gone. They didn't get there till 10. They left at 2. They complained if they had to work on a weekend. Like, it was cake compared to what I was used to working. I mean, 13 hours a day, especially running restaurants, working 13, 14 hours a day. I've slept in my restaurants before. I mean, it was crazy. So this was much easier for me, but it took a long time to get to where, I was making enough money to, make up for what I lost.
Yeah, they say I think they say like restaurant anyone that's worked at a restaurant is probably the ideal person for real estate. Also, you think on your feet, like you got to fix stuff constantly. And also, I think there's also I heard something recently that like I was in a mastermind and we were talking about the number one character trait for a successful leader, and it's humility. I think you learn a lot of humility. And I'm like, dude, I remember when I was a
Yeah.
dishwasher busboy in college, and I think my first achievement was the rack of glasses. I think I slipped and like the whole thing, like I broke every glass. I'm laying on my back. This was like a really upscale like the way up in this restaurant was to like I was like I want to be a server. They're like, all right, dude, you got to start here. Like being a server was a prestige. It was like I went to this like college in South Jersey. It was a sleepy state school, and like the only it was like the Pine. It's called the Pine Barrens. It's just woods, you know. It's like
Uh-huh.
wood. It's like woods, Atlantic City, and then like Philadelphia, right? And I was in the woods, and it was like the only restaurant. Like so, I needed to make money, but like yeah, I think there's a lot of humility in that role. So when you got into real estate, it sounds like you're talking about short sales. It sounds like 2007, 8-ish. Am I right?
Yeah, I got my license in August of 2006, but we really started ramping up in '07 and '08. And we first started expired withdrawals. That was our business model at the beginning. No leads wasn't really a thing back then. Like you had to go find your own business. So,
Uh huh.
and again, I was the guy that like, I don't know if it was self-confidence I didn't have or just not enough knowledge about the business, but like I went with Donald everywhere. Like he's 10 years older than me and he knew the business a little bit more. And Donald has more confidence than anybody and he's quick. He's very quick witted and can answer every question, even if it's made up answers. He would be by my side. We would go on every single listing appointment together. Every day we'd get to the office in the morning, we'd go drive out to all the new expired listings, go knock on their door. We'd actually walk to the front door with a for sale sign in our hand, knock on the door, they would answer, and we were very successful at that. We started to get busy with that. And then I remember our first ever short sale. Before short sale was a thing, it was a small local credit union. And this lady owed more than the house was worth, and we actually went to the credit union and started having conversations with them, and they ended up agreeing to short selling this house for. Her. And that was the first time I ever remember hearing that term. And then it started picking up, and then all the big banks, Bank of America, Countrywide, they were not ready for all these short sales. So, I mean, we had to hire somebody that would just sit on the phone for an hour and a half on hold, waiting to talk to somebody in their loss mitigation department. So we ended up getting into short sales. Lots and lots of agents throughout Charleston thought we were the short sale experts. We were learning as we went. We had no clue what we were doing, but they thought we were the experts. So they would just refer all of their short sales and distress sales to us, and we would gladly pay them a referral fee. I mean, there were times when we had probably over 100 short sales at one time listed. Um, so that held us for a long time. We always got worried. Like around that time there were either guys that only specialize in expired withdrawals, or only specialize in FSBOs, or only specialize in bank owned foreclosures. And I was like, man, we got to be careful because this is not going to last forever. And we need to make sure we're providing some service, that we're doing, we diversify as much as we possibly can. And sure enough, that was big help for us, because the guys that you saw ranked number one in sales in the MLS, that all they did was REOs, like they're nowhere to be found after that boom was over, because they didn't have any real customers that they were talking to. So turned out we lucked into getting busier and bigger.
Well, I bet. So I have a very similar story, right? I remember when I got licensed in 2008, and I think I set my first open house, and people ask me about like the beginning of real estate, and I always I always compare it to like when you go to a party, right? And you're a little late, like, or if you're going to a concert and like the lights are kind of turning on, or maybe you missed the band or whatever. Like I got to the party and they were like cleaning up and like turning the lights on, and I did an
Yeah.
open house,
What
and
year was this?
I got licensed in 2008, so this was 2009, right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
I was so excited. It was a townhouse complex, and there was an open house right next door. And dude, I'm just like I think one of my blind spot no, one of my blind spots is I think everything's fine. I think everything's great all the time, right? Like that's one of my and so the people that I work with, I'm like, guys, like when you work with someone in leadership, you hire someone, you're like, these are my blind spots, you need to know them right away because you have to look out for them because I won't see them. And
Yeah.
so I went next door. And by the way, like I didn't know anything about money or wealth or markets. Like we never had anything growing up. It sounds like maybe you had a similar like background, but like
Yeah.
if you're washing dishes, dude, you didn't have a silver spoon, I would assume.
Yeah, that's right.
I went next door to the open house. There was another agent doing an open house, like I don't know, like a seasoned older agent or whatever. And like I walked in and I was like, "Hey, I'm Joe. I'm doing the open house next door. How cool is this?" Like I just like, and meanwhile I'm living in a house with, like four guys. We just need beer money and whatever. Like, and the agent was like, I remember she just looked like she saw a ghost. She was like not psyched. She's like, "You just got your real estate license?" And I was like, "Yeah, is it cool, man?" And she said, in South Jersey, there's a town called Wildwood, and like it's where like North Jersey people go to vacation. And so she's like, I'm like, "How's the market?" She's like, "This is what she said to me." She goes, "How's the market?" I couldn't afford my boat payments anymore, so we left our boat in Wildwood in the marina, and we just like will never go back for it, right? And she just like kind of was doom and gloom, and similar to your story, my team leader was a guy that got into it before me, and he was my age, but he wasn't living in a house with four guys trying to scrape money together for like beer money.
Hmm.
He was doing really well. And so
Yeah.
he opened up a brokerage, and he was really smart. And he was like, dude, we need to do, he did the same thing. He's like, we got to figure out how to do short sales. And
Mm.
we had someone that would sit on the phones, and we kind of had a similar story. And I remember really grassroots. Like I remember getting chased out of like the local malls called Monmouth Mall, and during the
Yeah.
wintertime we were like we made flyers like, "Are you behind?" Everyone was behind on their mortgage, right? So we're like, "Are you behind?" Like we like made the flyers like punk rock style, like, and we were
Yeah.
like putting them on windshields, and
Oh my goodness.
yeah, the security like chased us away, but like we were doing like I love the thing you're like door knocking with like yard signs and things like that. Like that's the kind of stuff, man. And it's funny to see what the way it's kind of changed and the way we're like you and I met because of Zillow, the way we lean on technology and these like channel
Yeah.
partners. Tell me now about like what's your business look like now?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's mostly lead based, and I say that, we still do over a third of our business is past clients or SOI, but I mean, it's a lead based business, make no mistake about it. Like we are partnered up with some of the top lead source companies in the country, and we either pay for leads or up front, or we're paying a referral fee on the back end, as you know. And that's really what we're using to build and grow. The way I like to explain it is, not everybody has what you and I had back in 2006 to 2008, like that. First of all, the time that it takes to build that business up, but also the work ethic. Not really the work ethic, because people do have good work ethic, but just the vision, I guess. Like I've got to go out here and grind every single day, all day long, in order to close some sales. It's not like that anymore. Like the agents want something quick. They need to see quick success. And that's where we think we fit in. Like we can give them the leads that get them to quick success. I think Amazon obviously helped with that too. So the consumers are looking for quick as well. So, the consumer clicks on the internet, we get their information. They don't care about us. They just care about the house that they want to go see. So we've got agents in there to fill the gap that we train and get ready. And the agents go to work, and I call it rocket fuel. Like to get to the database that you and I got to, 15 years ago, they can get to it in a year, honestly, with taking leads. And now they've got to do it the right way. They got to take the leads and take care of them, and then try to nurture them and try to get referrals from them for new clients and build up their database. But I mean, honestly, if an agent does the right thing with the leads that they're taking, that are very expensive leads, by the way, and low profit, but if they do the right thing in 2 years, they could be off leads and have their own beautiful database business. Now, that's not always the way it happens, but it could happen that way.
Yeah, let me ask you this, man. That's you. I love how you said that, right? So a mistake we made at Oz Group was we didn't have any. We didn't have. I didn't have any standards, man. I didn't. Well, I didn't. I didn't know the avatar, right? I didn't know who we were looking for, right? It was we had the opportunity with Zillow, and I want to go really, really fast. And we were just, it's funny, man. I received a handful of accolades from Zillow and our brokerage and, whatever. We went from 5 agents to 50 in like 6 months, right? And I was like, oh my God, I'm a genius. Look how smart I am, right? And, by the way, the blind spot for me can be ego a little bit, right? So like whatever. And then like, oh, this is easy, And, oh my God, what I didn't realize was out of 50 agents, I probably had to offboard about 30. Like I was like, this is like the airport and there's like no TSA. We were letting terrorists on the plane. We were letting like people without a passport, right?
Yep.
And so like then, I brought on a sales manager who actually saw what I was doing. And like really, it's funny, man, that first year we were onboarding 10, 12 people a month. And I thought that was the move. And it's like this is why they put like if you're like a really really happening club in Vegas, there's like a velvet rope and a bouncer and a clipboard for a reason. Not everybody
Uh-huh.
can get in. Like if you're wearing
Yeah.
sneakers, you're not getting in. And
You were
so
not that.
I had to learn that lesson, man. And like because everyone, also another blind spot of mine is like, I just think everybody can do what I can do, and I believe everybody. Like I'm excited, and I think everybody can do it. So
Yeah.
I believe you're in a bunch of like, how do you like when you're hiring, like what does that look like? Like you can't, I'm sure like if you put something up on Indeed or if you hire a recruiting service, I believe that you probably have a lot of people knocking on your door. And I believe that with the success that you've had, the resources that you provide your agents, such as onboarding or training or pipeline reviews and things like that, I would assume those are really valuable resources that also you as a leader have to protect those resources. You can't burn out your sales managers. You can't burn out your operations department. So can you talk to me from like a leadership standpoint and like an onboarding standpoint about bringing on people and like how do you address that, man? Like anyone that's starting a team right now or got a Zillow
Yeah.
Flex account or got a Zillow seller account or got whatever that looks like, and has an opportunity to grow and how they can avoid some of those pitfalls. Can you talk about some failures that maybe you've
Yeah.
had and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of the same exact stuff you're talking about with the quick growth and then like, oh man, what did we do? And dial back and then rebuild. Like we've done that a lot. The I think the saving grace, honestly, for us, Joe, are we had systems and processes, not the same we still have, not the same ones we have today. We had to change and evolve. But we had systems and processes early on. That was my forte. Like I love the operations side of the business. I'm not the sales guy. So that would be my first recommendation is try to build out the foundation and the outside of the business, like what's going to be your processes and systems for your agents, your training program. Build all that out as much as you can. That's never going to be perfect. So don't wait till you get to 100% to launch. It's not going to happen. But then partner with somebody else because rarely is there somebody that's great on both sides of this business, the ops side and the sales side. And I am not that sales guy. So there's zero chance we would have been successful on the sales side if it wasn't for Donald, my business partner, who was the sales guy in Charleston when we were building Charleston. And then when we started to expand, we've got a chief sales officer. His name is Brandon, and he's on the sales side. So he's the guy that's helping all the team leaders. We have one team leader for each location, helping them recruit, making sure they find the right avatar, holding everybody accountable. Like he's got to hold the team leaders accountable. The team leaders have to hold the agents accountable. So he's doing all that side of the business, and I'm really dialed in on the outside of the business. And we're nowhere near where we need to be. We've got a lot of work to do, but we've done a lot of things over the past years. It's the whole how you write a contract is, every time you get sued for something, you change something. That's
Yep.
how the sales contract is. That's kind of what we've done over the years. We haven't been sued a bunch, but just as we learn something, we're like, oh crap, why are we losing agents? Like we shouldn't be losing agents. Well, then we got to go fix why we were losing agents. So, and then when you were talking about when you first got on with Zillow, where you were bringing on a bunch of people, well, we made the same mistake. Like we called it giving the keys to the Mercedes to a 16-year-old. Like we were giving them this holy grail of leads that they were ready to go look at a house, and they were like 18 years old, just got out of high school and going to look at $3 million houses. Like that was the wrong thing to do. So we had to dial that back, and we fixed our training program. Now we have tiers. You have to graduate to get. So we've learned a lot of lessons and made a lot of mistakes over the last several years.
Tell me this: how many locations are you guys in?
We're in 7.
7. Are they all in the same state? Same
No,
state?
4 different states. South Carolina, Charleston is our original office. We started there 19 years ago, and then we have 2 other locations in South Carolina, one in North Carolina, 2 in Georgia, one in Florida. I think that's all 7.
What advice? Okay, so Zillow is
Mhm.
like, yo, can you guys expand? Can you go here, right?
Yeah,
I listen to a lot of podcasts. I read some books. I try to hang out with really smart people, and what I hear is like I always hear the fastest way to fail is by expanding too quickly, right? And so,
yeah.
what advice can you give to a team member who has an opportunity to expand with a lead source, but is a little apprehensive? I think the apprehension comes from knowing this. Every state is different, right? Every market, even if you go to a different state, the different area, different MSAs are different, right? So,
Yeah.
what advice can you give to someone with an opportunity to expand that might be a little apprehensive or hesitant?
Do I have time to tell a quick 3-minute story about our first attempt at expansion?
Dude, we got time,
And,
brother.
and
Yeah.
should I say a brokerage name? It kind of plays into it, but I could say
Yeah,
XYZ brokerage if I
you could
need
say
to.
whatever. By the way, we're broker agnostic. We love everyone.
Okay, all right, perfect,
Jeremy and I are not the same brokerage. We're just buddies, right? And
perfect.
by the way, can I just say that like the the collaborative effort is where people succeed, right? And for what I found in real estate was I was the top agent in a Keller Williams office, and it doesn't matter if it was Keller Williams or Coldwell Banker or Remax,
Yeah.
but like the other 3 agents that were on, we were all doing the same amount of business. We all were competing to be number one, right? And
Hmm.
they all, I was like trying to knock on their doors and hang out with them and share things, and they all thought I was competition, man. And I think that hurt
It's like
all of us.
frenemies. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
And like when I worked at Remax, they told me to lock your desk when you leave. And I was like, what are you talking about? And the broker's like, yeah, the agents will go. This is what they said to me. This is real. It sounds unbelievable. They'll go through your desk and try and find your open house sheet with phone numbers on it to call some leads.
Jeez.
So anyway, man, this is all about collaboration, man. And
Yeah,
if it's part of your story, it's part of your
yeah.
story. We're here to uplift everyone.
Yeah, yeah. So I think this is a valuable part of the story. And so I'll start with the first 10 year. No, no, I'm sorry. The first 4 years we were in business. Yeah, first 4 years we were in business, we were with KW. We left it when the crash happened. Our actual local KW office that we were part of went out of business. And there's another story about there, but basically we moved our license and we became independent. We were independent for 10 years. And that was perfect for us. Like we loved being independent. Like we wrote our own agents' checks. Like they got the second they turned in the commission check, we handed them their check. Like it was perfect. Like we were known in Charleston. We were doing well. We were growing slowly. But then we had the idea to expand. We were like, man, we got something here. And then Zillow Flex came around. So we got something here. We got the foundation with the systems and the ops. Like, I think we can go take this somewhere else. It's pretty repeatable. So we were still independent. We went up to Columbia, South Carolina, about an hour and a half from us. And we were like, man, if we could do this in Charleston, we could easily do it in Columbia. So we started to put ads out, like Indeed. I think it was Monster back then, but Indeed, and try to recruit agents, start talking to people, trying to look for office space, trying to learn the area and the MLS. Um, and like almost immediately, it was roadblock after roadblock. Like nobody knew who we were. Like we're some independent brokerage out of Charleston. Nobody really wanted to join the team. We didn't really know what we were offering them. We were like, oh, this is kind of an experiment. Hopefully it works. So they didn't believe in us because we didn't believe in ourselves. And then it got really expensive. We almost signed a lease for like $7,000 a month for an office space with zero sales coming in, zero people on our team. Thank God that didn't work out. And a few days after that fell through, we were like, man, this just doesn't feel right. Let's scrap this. So we did away with the plans to expand, even though Zillow was going to let us go up there and they were going to give us a campaign to start with. And then we were still friends with our KW people, and we walked into his office, and it's funny. We went there with the intention to find out what it would take to net $1 million running a Keller Williams office. He's like, oh, I'll take about 600 agents on your. We're like, whoa, there's no way I want 600 agents running around here, and I've got to corral them all. So he was like, what about this? And he started talking about expansion. And at that time, it was 4 or 5 years ago. What expansion mostly looked like was a team taking 1 or 2 agents, putting them here, 2 more agents, putting them here, just like a couple agents here and there, basically trading referrals back and forth. And, you know, guess that worked for some people, but what we wanted to do was start a big team. And almost immediately, like that day, and I told you I'd make quick decisions. Almost pretty much that day, we made the decision that we were going to go to KW because they have the building, they have the agents, they have the broker, they have the copy machine, they have very cheap office space. And we're like, man, this makes sense. All of the things that we were worried about, they have fixed. Yes, we have to pay for that, but there's value in that. We just learned that there's a lot of value in that. And I say KW, like KW doesn't work for everybody. It just works for what we were trying to do at the time. So we almost immediately went up to Columbia, and KWs are all independently owned and operated. So you got to talk to the right people and find out which is the best fit for you. But we partnered up with them, and almost overnight we opened 3 offices: Greenville, Columbia, and Savannah. And we started with about 15 agents in each one on our team. And we made a lot of mistakes. We started with a team leader, a weird pay structure, but we've learned. I think we've gotten better. And every time we open a new office, we've kind of changed the iteration a little bit. But that's really what did it for us, was our partnership with KW and our lead sources. That's vital as well. So to answer your original question, I think finances is the most important, because unless you've got tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to lose the first 6 months, like you gotta find the right partnerships with leads that aren't going to be, $50,000 a month, and you got to find the agents, and cheap rent and all that stuff. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. Yeah, our Zillow rep was like, she showed us what we would be paying for these leads if we were paying out of pocket. Yeah, I don't know. I saw that number. And so,
Yeah, it's a big
yeah,
one.
no, you're just talking about just leaning on your resources, and that's really super smart. And so now you have a team leader in each area, right? And then your sales manager oversees the team leaders. And then
That's right.
who, when someone wants to join Savannah or whatever, who interviews that
Yeah.
agent? Like, who interviews that person? I guess it's the team leader there, correct?
Yeah, the team leader, and then we have a corporate recruiter now. We recently hired over the last 6 months, so they'll usually step in and do screening process as well. And we do a couple of different interviews with some of our leadership team to make sure they're a good fit. And we don't, honestly, the 10 or 15 deal per year agent that's already doing that much is really not our avatar. Like, in real estate business, I mean, that's pretty much got it figured out. I know that doesn't sound like a lot of deals per year, but as an independent agent, that's not a bad living. So in our team, like, we don't mind going after the brand new agents or the agents that have only done a few deals. Maybe they're new to the area, they don't have SOI business, and they can't take a year to build that up. That's our avatar. And Brandon, our chief sales officer, his tagline is humble, hungry, and kind. That's what they're looking for.
That's good, man. What advice would you give to a new agent, or someone, or even like someone that's like, doing a couple deals and like probably your avatar? So what advice would, if you were speaking directly to the agent, like, what should I be looking for? So like, obviously, like, someone might hear this that's not in your area or my area. Like, they're just interviewing in whatever, they're in
Yeah.
Illinois, whatever, right? What advice would you give to a new agent? Like, what should they be looking for? And what questions should they be asking the team lead or the recruiter or the sales manager, whoever's interviewing them? Like, let's like arm them with like questions, right?
Yeah.
Because like, just like you said, man, like, I think a lot of, I've worked at a bunch of brokerages and I've done a bunch of roles, and I feel like I've seen like really talented people just come in and out, and they just weren't given the right tools, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these brokerages are like, once they sign you on, they promise you X, Y, and Z, and they over promise and under deliver, because a lot of these are like franchise organizations, right?
Yeah.
And so like, as I describe it a lot, like, there's a lot of brokerages are there's monthly fees and things like that. And it's almost like 24-hour fitness. Like, 24-hour fitness doesn't care if you're at the gym every
That's
day
right.
hitting your goals. They do care
Yeah.
if they get their $99 a month or whatever that looks like, right? Netflix
Yeah.
doesn't care if you're watching your share of whatever. They're just making sure that you don't like delete the app and not pay. So what advice would you give to a
Yeah.
new agent when they're interviewing?
Yeah.
What questions should they ask?
So much. I think the word leads is thrown around too much, and leads is such a broad category, and uh, I think a lot of people with the team craze over the last several years, I think a lot of people are trying to start teams and not offering as much value as those new agents need. And I think the first one I can think of is the lead. So make sure you really find out what kind of actual leads you're going to be getting. Because if you're going to be splitting a part of your commission, you want to make sure that the leads are decent. Now, uh, there's no, I really agree that there are no bad leads. Eventually, you talk, obviously a bad phone number, but you talk to enough leads, they're going to eventually start to convert. So there are no bad leads, but there are leads that convert faster than other leads. And you and I know what those sources are. A lot of people say they have leads and all they have is pay per click or website leads that are going to take a year, honestly, to convert. You're going to convert 1 or 2% out of every 100 versus some of the bottom of the funnel stuff that's going to convert at 10 to 15%. So really find out what the lead sources are so you know how fast you're going to get to the money. If you got the right bottom of the funnel lead source, you're gonna hit the money a lot faster. The next is support. Like, when I'm writing my first contract or I have a question, like who am I to lean on? Like, who's going to be there for support? Is that person in production? Or are they going to be here for me? Am I going to have a hard time getting them on the phone or getting them to help me? I think the support is a big question. Advancement, I never thought that advancement would be something I'd be talking about, but once our team has gotten bigger and grown, like there's a lot of room for advancement now. You talked about the team leaders in each location. We also have assistant team leaders. That's a paid position. We also have mentors. That's a paid position. We have certified trainers. That's a paid position. We have a 17-person leadership team. That's all advancement and paid positions. So there's so much advancement now. If somebody doesn't want to sling houses for the rest of their life, and they're a good leader, there's a spot for them. And I think burnout in real estate is real, and I
Mm-hmm.
think I would recommend going to a team that's big enough to have some advancement opportunities for you. Systems, processes, all that stuff is very important, but leads, leadership, and advancement, I think, are three of the big ones.
That's awesome. What's the hard? So how many units did you sell last year?
Last year we did 1,200. We're on pace to close 2,200 this year. We're 50 to 60% growth over last year through March right now.
How many agents is that in the org?
Currently, as of today, we have about 160 agents. We ended last year with 123.
Got it. And how many? Tell me about the staff, dude. Like, what staff? Like, what?
Yeah.
Dude, come on, man. Like, what's the staff behind that? Talk about
Yeah. So,
support. So you just talked about like advancement and all that stuff and support. Like when I'm writing my first
mhm.
contract, who's going to help me? But like, sounds to me like you should the agent should be looking for leads, right? And of
Yeah.
course, let's put a magnifying glass on what does that mean, right? Um, I always say, by the way, like my leads were like, dude, it was like I was like a private investigator. Like these weren't people expecting my phone call. Like, and I sometimes the phone numbers are wrong, or I like hunt these people down and see if they even were even thinking about. They just like
Yeah.
signed up on a website or something, right? Because they want to
Yeah.
look at photos. So I get that, but yeah, on the support side, man, like that's really yeah, who's gonna be there for me, right? Like, tell me about that. What is like the operational side of your organization look at the support staff?
Yeah. So, obviously, I think we've already talked about the sales side of it, where it's the chief sales officer, the team leaders, and then assistant team leaders, mentors, certified trainers. On the ops side of the business, we have a director of operations, and she has 7 different departments. I'm not going to be able to remember all 7 of them off the top of my head, but marketing, training, customer service, referrals, admin, and transaction coordination, and then maybe there's one more. But so you've got our director of ops that oversees those 7 departments. Each of those 7 departments are led by a U.S. based person, full time person, U.S. based, and the members of each one of those teams, for the most part, are all VAs in the Philippines that
Got
are
it.
like family to us, and they've been working with us for years. I think we've got 20 to 25 VAs at this point. And we found that model to work really well because the VAs have been great, but they don't necessarily know how real estate is done in the United States. So it helps to have a point person that's kind of their mentor, their coach, and their leader that runs that team. They have their own meetings, and then the department managers have a meeting with the director of operations, and it's worked really well for on the transaction. At the beginning of the call, you were talking about different states do things different ways. So on our transactions team, we have a transactions manager that lives in the states, and then each office has their own transaction coordinator. The busiest offices have two. So,
Got it. That's awesome. What's the hardest part about leading at this level?
the hardest part about leading at this level is just keeping everybody happy, honestly. Like we always try to do the right thing for everybody, but the change and keeping everybody happy because nobody loves change, right? When something seems to be going well on the agent side of things, and then we're like, all right, here come, like we just changed it. We're in the process of changing our IDX solution. We're in the process of revamping and redoing our website. And people are just like, what's wrong with the old one? They don't understand all the ins and outs of it. So there's got to be some trust there. So nobody loves change. So that's the hardest thing, just trying to get people to understand the change and go with it.
Okay, perfect. How do you retain talent?
That's a good question. I was just talking about that on a call yesterday. It's really honestly the culture in each location. I think the culture has a lot to do with it and the other members of the team. And I've got the advantage of seeing seven different teams. I'm on all of their Slack channels, if you can imagine how crazy that is. But some of the teams are like super plugged in. They're like family, like great culture. I mean, they're handing each other free leads. Like we don't let anybody take anybody's leads. Like if you're giving up the lead, you're giving it to them. You're not getting anything in return. Eventually you'll get a favor paid back to you. So, just seeing that in some of the Slack channels. But then, some of our we've got a couple of struggling offices and seeing how the culture is not quite the same in those offices. The collaboration is not quite the same. It's a ghost town sometimes in that Slack channel. So just trying to get that culture going. And it's tough when we just launched 3 new offices in the last 9 months. And, we've got one person, the team leader that knows Chucktown. They've been in Chucktown for a long time. But we've got, like in Atlanta, we've got 20 agents that are new to Chucktown and know nothing about Chucktown or the culture. So trying to get that one person to influence these 20 people, it doesn't happen overnight, and it takes just repeat over and over and over again. So a lot of it's culture. We rarely lose people over money and stuff. I really believe we've got more value than most places out there. We really try to take care of our people.
Yeah, man, I think I think what it looks like too with that culture, at least in my experience, you said you need those one or two people, but like it just needs time for it to create itself, I think, right? And you do that by bringing on the right people and helping those people win. And then like once everybody sees them, like once that person starts winning, like our business models, like we started this like literally, we like started with like, let's find my business partner. His name's Gil. He said, I'm like, how are we going to do this? By the way, we started it with like, I was in California, he was in New Jersey, I was cold calling. Like I was an expired cancel withdrawn person myself, right? I'm like, dude, we're just gonna take a shit ton of listings and then we'll figure it out from there. And Zillow came along. But he's like, I'm like, how are we gonna do this? Like him and I were doing it, we're making money, it was cool. Like, holy shit, that first year I set 200 appointments, we took 50 listings, right? And so like it was just him and I and an admin. And then like he's like, we're gonna take one person and change their life. And then we're
Yeah,
just going to scream it from the rooftops, right? So when that person's life changes, that becomes the social proof, right? And then that person gets to kind of like scream it from the rooftops, and then we're putting people around them, and I think people just have to see that it's possible. It's like the 4 minute
yes,
mile, like you know what I mean? It's like, dude, I just
yes,
have to see that it's possible. And so if you can start small, I think, and then really just change someone's life, and then I think it just trickles down, man. And that culture, I think it just takes time to create. And the funny thing
yeah,
is man, I've been in these rooms where like culture, dude, I didn't understand it for so long. Like, what is culture, man? Like, what does that even mean, dude? And
uh-huh,
now it's like, now I get it, dude. Man, we have like the top producer dinner, we go to Top Golf, we
yeah,
do these things. And, um, let me, let me shift to another question, man.
sure.
What market, what market trends are you? Oh yeah, what trends are you watching in real estate right now?
Um, this is going to sound really dumb, probably, but I don't worry too much about the real estate trends. I know that sounds so crazy, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
no longer in the real, I don't even see myself in the real estate business any longer, to be honest with you. I mean, I think my agents are and my team leaders are, but I'm in the agent support business, honestly, anymore. So I was telling my wife the other day, I'm like, man, I hope we don't ever move because I'm gonna have to hire an agent to help us move because I don't even know how to log into the MLS anymore. Like I've been not doing real estate for so long at this point that I'm in the taking care of agents business at this point. So
Good
there's
answer.
there's trends, but there's always gonna my mindset is there's always gonna be business. Yes, there may not be as many sales this year as there were last year. It may be a different type of sales, but there's always going to be market share. Like we're not even probably 3% of the market share in any one of the markets we're in. So think of that. I mean, there's 97% of the market share. There's so much there for everybody. And that's why, like, I love those rooms that you're talking about. Like I was in Tampa for a Zillow Mastermind last week where there's 40 of the top Zillow Flex teams in the country there from all different brokerages. And man, it was like everybody's just open book. They'll tell you everything. Like there's plenty of business for everybody, Joe.
No, first, dude, that was such an awesome answer. Also, like, there's so much bullshit, right? Like, we just got to put the blinders on. And it's
Yeah.
like, everyone's asking me about like clear cooperation this week. And I'm like, dude, I don't care, man. Like, it's going to be fine. And also, we're going to figure it out, right? Like, the leaders
Yes.
figure it out. Like, we're going to
Yeah.
figure it out. It's so funny you say that, man. I'm in California. I am licensed. I have access to the MLS. And dude, I, I just this morning I was with my broker who's helping me purchase an investment property. Like I can't, dude. I don't even, dude. I couldn't find, bro, for like multifamily homes. Like I was looking for fourplexes and threeplexes, and
Uh-huh.
I'm in the MLS by myself. Like this is how dumb I am. I'm like trying to find like comps and stuff, and then I called this dude, and he like screen shared with me, and like he like I was in the wrong place in the MLS. Like I didn't know how to use the MLS, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh wow, this is crazy. And it was funny.
Yeah.
He was like, I was very clear with this dude. I was like, yo, I'm not looking for a commission. I'm looking for a broker to help me. Will you please help me find find this house? Find this. He's like, yes. And it's funny because he asks me for, whatever. It's a symbiotic relationship, right? We talk like he's like,
Yeah.
what do I do about my team and this, that, the other thing? And I'm like, oh, dude, I can help you there. I'm like, but I can't find a fourplex in
That's right.
this.
One of my neighbors is a financial advisor, and he consults with a lot of widows and widowers. And I saw him in Starbucks the other day, and he's like, "Hey, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to jump on a podcast and talk all about probate and wills and real estate." And I was like, I'm not your guy, man. I can get one of my agents to do it, but I am not that guy. So, like, if
Yeah.
you want to talk about building a team or expanding a real estate company, I'll help you with that. But I'm not that guy anymore. Like when I was doing it, I really felt like I was good. I was a great listing agent. I loved the listing side of the business, very analytical. But I've lost it all just doing what I've been doing for the last several years.
Yeah, because you're not that person anymore, man. You've just grown,
Hmm.
right? And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's like who we are, right? Like that's where we go. What keeps you up at night?
All my thoughts, man. I've got so many thoughts and ideas, and I can't even imagine being like a Brandon or an Anna. That's my chief sales officer and my director of ops. Like I kind of feel bad for them a little bit. Just like I'm like, oh, what about this, guys? Let's try this. Let's do this. Let's change this. And they've got to hold me back sometimes. Because I've got a lot of thoughts and ideas. That's really it. I just want to, and taking care of my people. I really like the thing that bothers me the most of it is if I ever get wind of somebody in the company complaining, whether it's complaining about bad leads or bad leadership or, somebody not getting back to them and communicating with them. So, like, I just want everything to be perfect. I know that's impossible, but I strive for perfection. That's probably my downfall.
Yeah, sure, man. That's awesome. What what's something that agents totally get wrong?
Uh, well, I don't know how I can. What I think they get wrong is they don't have belief in the kind of what you were alluding to earlier. Like they don't have the belief. Like I'm like shaking. I'm like, guys, we've been doing this for a long time. I've seen agents go from zero to closing 70 deals a year, or like making no money to bringing home $500,000 a year. Like, and this is how they did it. I saw them do it. I actually trained them when they first started, and now they're here 10 years later and they're still doing it. Like, this is what they did to get there. But, it takes a lot of consistency and a lot of, just every day doing the same thing over and over again. And that's hard I mean, just think of like losing weight. I'm going through that struggle right now. Like I talk a good game in real estate, but like it's hard for me to stay consistent with working out and exercising and eating right. So I get it. It's a hard thing to do every single day, but that's the only way to get successful in this business is just the consistency and believing in the system and believing that it's going to work.
That's awesome. Now let's move on to the more important questions.
Okay.
I'm in Charleston for one
Okay.
night. I've got one place to eat.
I knew
Where
you
am I
were going to
eating?
ask me that. I'm the worst. So I don't know if you know this about me, but I have 8 children. I have 8 children, so we don't get out to eat much, Joe.
Okay. Is
And
there
I'm
like
going
a
to be,
pharmacy in Charleston that
yeah,
sells like prophylactics maybe? Or like, did you not find that or what?
I've never found them. I still haven't found that store. I'm gonna be serious. This is my favorite restaurant. You're gonna think I'm joking, but this is my favorite restaurant. I'm gonna tell you where to go if you're in Charleston.
Okay.
Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A.
That's the one, huh?
Chick-fil-A is the one, man. It's like there's always friendly. They're always
Mm-hmm.
fast. I mean, they've got it figured out, man.
Bro, we just had, so I live in San Juan Capistrano, right? We have something called
Uh-huh.
Swallows Day. It's like 4th of July for like San Juan Capistrano. It's when the swallows come back to Capistrano, right? And it's a lot of history and heritage here. And we have a parade every year. The parade was last Saturday, and my wife and all of our friends, we like rode our bikes over and we parked right in front of the Chick-fil-A. And my wife's like, we need to park in front. We're gonna you gotta make your spot at the parade. And so my wife said, I was like, Chick-fil-A. I'm like, all right. She just kept talking about meeting. Everyone met at Chick-fil-A. And we left at like 10. We made our way over there. It's like noon. All the kids are like, I'm hungry. Dude, my wife just walks across the street, she's like, what's the biggest chicken nugget? Like, I guess they do like 30
Platter.
count
Yeah.
chicken nuggets. Yeah. So she got like, she comes across the street. My wife's amazing. Her name's Nicole. She just comes over and like everybody was hungry, man. And like, everyone's just eating
Uh-huh.
it. And that's a home run. Uh, to and from my son's school is
That's
Chick-fil-A. We
awesome.
stop there
Yeah,
constantly.
and if you want to figure out how to run a business, man, just go sit in a Chick-fil-A for a while. They've got it figured out, and if they don't, they will figure it out.
Well, they have the customer service. I always talk about Trader Joe's, right? When I do a
Mm.
training, I always talk about Trader
Mhm.
Joe's because when you ask for where's the peanut butter pretzels at Trader Joe's, I always say, well, what do they do? Do you know what they do at Trader Joe's when the guy's stocking the shelves and you ask him where the peanut butter pretzels are? Do you
Well,
know what
he
they do
takes you
next?
all the way across the store, doesn't he?
Correct. Yeah. It's
That's
like the Four
that's
Seasons. It's like, oh, sir, I'll
yeah.
take you there or whatever. It's like, not that I hang out at the Four Seasons. I'm just a realtor, maybe one day, right? But like, it's the front of the airplane, that kind of thing. And when we start treating people like that, I think that's when everything kind of starts to change. What was your first concert that you ever went to?
Oh, so I think this is going to resonate with you. It was actually Green Day.
Nice.
I look like a typical Green Day fan, don't I?
Well, it's funny, man. Do you know what year was that? And do you remember the
Oh,
venue, or were they
that
probably were
had
they
to
a smaller
be
bit? Like now they play like stadiums now.
Yeah, that had to be. It was in a coliseum that seats about 10,000 people, and that had to be 1993 or 1994.
That was like the beginning.
Yeah, it was a
Do you remember?
long
Did they
time
play
ago.
with anyone else that is notable?
I don't think so. I was so having fun, if you know what I mean. Like
That's awesome,
I don't
man.
remember too much about that concert.
That's great, man. Yeah, yeah. When I was younger, I had a record label when I was 19, and I actually went on tour. Got to go on a couple tours, man. One of my buddy got me into it. It was funny. I had like one of my oldest friends. His name's Adam, and we both grew up at the Jersey Shore. And you could get on the train and go into New York, and there was like we caught the tail end of like CBGBs and all these little clubs, and there's always stuff going on, and it was really cool because we could go into New York and there was punk rock shows every on Saturdays and Sundays. Like they were everywhere. They're all over the place, and you could find them. And there's like this community of weirdos that like we kind of got along with, and it was really
Sure.
neat. And I was kind of like I was like a good kid. I was like I did good in school, and I wanted to go to college, and I was kind of a
Uh-huh.
nerd. And my buddy Adam was like he kind of like I don't think he got his GED. I don't think he finished senior year. And like at the end of like my senior year, which was his senior year as well, I was like, well, I'm going to college. Like I'm going to college or whatever. And he's like, I remember I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm going on tour with. There was like a local punk band. He's like, I'm going on tour with this band, and I was like, I was like jealous. I was like jealous, and then like, but my jealousy was like, loser, you're not going to be anything. But really, I was like
Yeah.
jealous. Like that was my
Yeah.
and so he wound up. It was crazy because it's like anything else, dude. Like you were talking about, like it's gradual and then it's sudden. He like went on tour with this one band that nobody knew, but then they got asked to go on tour with a bigger band, and then he
Uh-huh.
went on that tour, and then that bigger band called him up and was like, dude, this was like in the course of like 9 months. It's like, oh, hey, they were like,
Wow.
hey, we're going to Japan. Do you want to come to Japan with us? So here I am, a dork at college or whatever, like in my like hanging up
He's
posters
traveling
in
the
my
world.
dorm. Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm going. The band was called Sick of It All. He's like, oh, I'm going to Japan.
You're
Sick of it
putting
all.
posters of your buddy on your
Yeah,
dorm
yeah.
wall. He's out traveling the
Oh
world.
my god. So and then like fast forward a couple years later, he's selling T-shirts for Green Day, dude. He's like literally the
Wow.
guy on tour working for that band. And yeah, I think he called me. He called me one day and he was like, "Hey man, this so and so needs a person to sell T-shirts. Do you want to go on tour this summer?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so I got the opportunity to do some really cool stuff, and that was really really fun. What do you like to do? What do you do for fun, man? Like, I obviously have a gigantic family, right? So
Yeah.
obviously you're doing a lot of that stuff. But if you get time to yourself, what do you like to do?
Yeah. This is gonna sound like I like to work. I really love what I do, so that's a big part of it. But my hobby is actually I've always wanted to be a cop, a police officer. So every other weekend on Friday at about 5 o'clock p.m. I go. I've created a nice friendship with a guy that works for the sheriff's department, so I'll go jump in his truck
Really?
and we'll go policing
Ride
until
along?
five o'clock in the morning, right along every other weekend.
Really?
That's right. I love it. It's so much fun. It's so much more interesting than real estate.
Well, can you share a story of something that you've
Oh
seen?
man. Yeah, yeah. So like I sit in the passenger side, right? So and like I can get out, like I'm getting more comfortable. I've been on some like when they go run the dog track and stuff, like I'll go with them on that. Like I can't do too much because I'm I'm not a cop. But so he always puts the prisoner behind me, or the person getting arrested behind me, and this one lady, this one girl, she had tattoos all over her neck and stuff, and she was a big girl, and she actually slipped through the cut. They had her handcuffed out by her car. We almost got into a chase with her, but we didn't. So she slipped out of her handcuffs, started wrestling with my guy and another cop, and they ended up getting her again. They threw her in the back seat of the car, and she was just going off on me. She thought I was. She said, are you a police officer?" I was like, "No, ma'am, I'm not." I'm like, "No, ma'am, I'm not. Please don't hurt me." She was like, "You're a snitch, aren't you?" "Yeah, you're a snitch." And like, there's all kind of this commotion going on behind me. I'm freaking out. Like she's gonna pull a gun out and shoot through the seat or something.
Oh my goodness!
But
Wow,
there's so many stories, man. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun.
that's your wild side.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so funny. I've been on a firefighter ride along. That was pretty awesome, by the way. And I
Really?
it's probably I'm very a lot more tame, but like yeah, like like a few years ago, like as an adult, my buddy was like, "You want to come on like come in the fire truck when we get a call?" And I'm like, "Are you out of your mind? Yeah, I want to do that. Are you crazy, dude? Hell
Heck
yeah,
yeah.
that's fun, man. Let me ask you this: What you like these questions? Are these fun for you?
Yeah, yeah. These are good. These are good.
What famous person have you met?
Oh man, not many, honestly. So I've been in a hotel room with Ric Flair, and Ric Flair was only wearing a towel. So that's I won't give you any more of the story than that. No need for no, just joking. I was room service at a hotel many years ago, and they
Wow.
were having a wrestling event here. So I worked at the room service at the hotel, so I delivered room service to him. I can't remember if he tipped me or not. Um, so that's really about up close and personal. I mean, it's as personal as you get, I guess. But now I don't have many famous people stories. I don't get out much, man. There's not many famous people running around Chick-fil-A in Charleston.
Dude, I think you're a famous person, man. What I love most about you is you're a really humble guy, man. You've had a lot of success and you're an open book, man. I see they're following you on Instagram and Facebook, and I just always see you collaborating with folks and things like that. I think let me ask you this, man. Like what can we plug, man? Like referrals, dude. If people need to move to so we talked about it. Let's recap, right? Where can we reach out to you guys if we need real estate assistance?
Yeah, I think the easiest way that we've done it is just anywhere in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Like, give us a call. If we don't have our own Chucktown agents in that area, we're partnered with the best agents in every county. Like, we'll just connect you with that agent that we know, and we've got referral partners in almost every county throughout the United States, and we've personally talked to them, interviewed them, made sure they're a good fit, so that we feel comfortable sending people to them. So really any of those four states, like we can either take care of them with our team members or we can get them in the right hands. So, yeah, I appreciate that.
Dude, you sent me a referral today.
We did send you a referral today. Yeah, it's crazy, man. We're sending about 1,000 referrals a year at this point.
That's
It's
wild,
nuts.
man.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah,
cool.
man. That you guys nailed it. That's like where I started my real estate career, was in the town where that referral came from. So I've already connected with you. That was so nice of you, by the
That's
way.
great.
I should have thanked you right away. That was so nice of you, man. Um,
Yeah, no worries.
yeah, that same thing, man. For us, it's New Jersey. Anywhere in New Jersey, we're pretty much covering all of it. New Jersey's not that big, actually. Cool, man. And what's next for Chucktown Homes?
Um, we're dabbling. We're talking about a few different areas, but really, we're right now we're just ultra focused on the three new expansions that we started within the last 6 to 9 months. Just making sure we get them, you know, energized and making a ton of money and a lot of successful agents on the team. So that's our goal right now. If Zillow comes to us and says they've got something for us, it'd probably be hard for us to turn it down right now. But we're ultra focused on our seven locations at this point. So no time, no thoughts of expansion in the next 6 months.
That's awesome, man. Cool. I'm gonna see you in like 3 weeks, I think, right? I'm gonna see you
Yes,
in.
I'll be in California. We're going to against my will. My wife and our neighbors are taking me and the kids to Italy, and I have no desire to go to a different country where I don't know the language, I don't know the transportation. Like I'm not looking forward to it. But the day we get back from Italy, I fly out to go to the West Coast from the East Coast. So I may be a zombie when I get to LA or Orange
That's
County.
brutal, dude. So that's why you can't
Yeah,
come surfing with us.
that's right. Yeah, I'm not getting there till later in that day. Yeah, yeah,
Can I tell you something?
yeah,
So my wife, her name's Nicole. She's got, I don't know what happened, man. She just got the travel bug. Like we travel, right? Like we're very lucky. We have a condo in Hawaii on the Big Island. We go there. That's like a 6 hour flight. And like
yeah.
it's my wife's uncle's condo, and it's got all the stuff in it, dude. It's got the beach chairs. It's got the mayonnaise is in the fridge. You know what I mean? It's
Mm,
easy. We go there, we stop at Costco, we get a bunch of stuff, and like we hang out at the beach. So I love that, right? That's cool.
yeah,
I surf. That stuff's awesome. Um, we'll also do like something like a state park or something, and like,
hmm
but my wife got the travel. When we were younger, we would travel constantly. Like, what's happening is on Instagram now, it shows you like 10 years ago you were here, whatever. So
uh,
like when we were kids, I mean, whatever, not kids, but you get it. When we were
young,
younger,
yeah.
when we went everywhere, man. Like we went everywhere. So in her feed, it's like Peru, Italy, like all these places we
Oh my
went. So
gosh.
she's got the travel bug, and she just recently was like, she wanted to go to Japan. And I'm like, we have a 3-year old and a 9-year old. On hour 5 back from Hawaii last time, Max was like biting and scratching Milo. Like it was getting gnarly. Japan's like a 9-hour flight. So I'm like, gee, Japan it might even be a 12-hour flight. I don't even know. Either way, man, I'm like, this does not sound good. And so,
Yeah,
and then my wife was like, and so Italy just came up, and I've been there. I love it. It's awesome. But in my head, I imagine me and my wife when we're dating, roaming
yeah,
around, stopping into
yeah. Nice
pubs.
romantic. Yeah,
Yeah, man, or like doing whatever. But like, yeah, dude, last night, my 3-year old, it was like from 9 to midnight. I was like, I was putting him to bed every half hour. Then I like laid in bed with him. Then we woke up, and I tried to get out of bed, and I brought him into my bed. I don't want to do that in another country, right? So
yeah,
my wife recently was like, yo, she's like, she doesn't say yo, I say yo because I'm from New Jersey. My wife says, well, what if me and Milo's our 9-year-old, what if Milo and I just went to Japan? I was like, that sounds amazing.
yeah. That sounds like what my response would be.
I was like, that sounds like a win-win. And like, also, my 3-year-old is such a sweetheart that like,
Well, I have a
I
feeling that part of the conversation is going to get edited out of this.
I don't know, man. I told her, I was like, I texted her, I was like, you know what? Because you know what? I think also, I did discover that that one-on-one time, like with your like parent child, is
Hmm.
really special and it's really rare. So not only would it save my whatever anxiety I have around this whole thing and not wanting to do it, like she would get to do her thing with Milo, and I, like Max and I could
Yeah,
just
you
chill and do
still
our
got
own
your.
thing, you know. And I
That's
think that
right.
would be really special. So most people would think that you're crazy for not wanting to go to Italy or whatever, but like but no, I totally get it, bud.
Yeah.
Well, listen, dude, I want to respect your time. We're at about time, or about an hour, and thank you for joining me, man. I learned
Yeah, that's great.
when I learn more about when I found the more I learn about other people that I respect and admire, the more I learn about myself, and that's the opportunity that you've given me today. And I think we've probably
Oh, that's
given
cool.
some cool stuff to some folks. So thanks for your time, man.
Yeah, man. Next time you're in Charleston, we'll go out at Chick-fil-A. Just let me know when you're coming.
I will. All right, let me
Jeff.
stop this.
Yeah.